Today is yet another dream realized which the Ministry of Housing and Water is having in Berbice. And you know, it's always a pleasure to have the Minister of Housing and Water, the Honorable Colin Crowell. He's very busy, but still let's find out how he's doing today. So welcome to our feature. How are you doing today?
I'm doing it's a very good day, and you know, it's also a recognition of International Men's Day, so that's why I spoke a little about it in my opening remarks. And then for the people of Guyana too, you know, waking up to the news of the announcement by our president in terms of increases across the board for the public sector, our health workers, teachers, health sector, teachers, discipline services, etc. So, and then there are more to come too. So.
All right, our president is indeed doing a fabulous job. Before we go to today's what really is happening here, let's talk a little bit about since you took office. To date, how many persons would have benefited from house lot across the region?
So across all the regions, since we're back in office, we've crossed the 18,000 mark. And so we're well on our way to the 50,000 total. So when you take into consideration our regular allocations that you see here, other matters that we have in part of our community development in terms of allocation for those persons we're regularizing. So we're about 18,300 now.
Oh, wow, that is so good. And how many persons benefited here today?
So today we have over 300 persons who will be benefiting from the allocation. And this is a follow-up from our October 14th exercise. This is for a block within the number 75 and 2 blocks within number 76.
All right. I know you would have meeting some persons individually. Can you say what were some of their challenges or are some of their challenges?
Sure. Well, the matters that persons are coming with, those vary. And some of which, of course, persons are following up on their ownership, their title documents, and because you know they're living in a particular area for a while, and you want to have that document for ownership. Region 6 has a number of areas for which we're trying to regularize and to have it processed to the final stage. Many of these would have had persons who are occupying them, former sugarcane land, and so forth, over the years. And so our community and development and our surveying department have been working hand in hand to be able to address a number of those areas right across the country. Then, of course, persons are also following up on their area. For example, here where we're closer to number 75, that was allocated. The infrastructure is complete now in the first phase. So we have already started to show persons that lot. Of course, they also want to find out more about the initiative that was announced by His Excellency the President, and that is for support in terms of construction to start the foundation. So that is for the support with the steel and cement. So Region 6 is no exception. They too benefiting from that program. In fact, we have now about 40 plus such persons who are eligible to be inspected. So we're very close to that final stage. They went through their process. They would have had a pre-screening, provided their plan approval, provided evidence of ownership. So we just come on the ground to verify physically what's there. And with the report 1 week after, then we have a voucher that is provided to that person who takes it to the supplier.
Minister, similar that you mentioned about the steel and cement subsidiary program, could you quickly just tell our viewers a little bit about how can persons benefit from this?
Oh, sure. And so there are 2 major tenets that you have to satisfy. One, your proof of ownership, because you must own the land. And secondly, you have to go through that process with your local authority to have your plan approved. So from your plan, you will have your estimates of your construction. That determines the level of support that we're giving. So for example, for estimate of $6 million and under, those will be the steel for the foundation along with 2 slings of cement. For above $6 million to $25 million, we assist with 2 slings of cement. And so that's across the board. And we have commenced verification, by the way. In fact, last week they were addressing a number of inspections for Region 3 and 4, and the work will continue. And this is an exercise that we expect will have much more applicants because we had started July 22nd that's the commencement date. So from then to now, some of the persons have now put their plan up for approval to start the construction. So we expect in the coming weeks we'll have an influx.
Okay. What's the processing time for these persons who come on board and would have submitted all their requirements?
The processing time from us at the Ministry of Housing and Central Housing and Planning Authority, it's around 2 weeks. But in terms of on the ground, it will take longer because you have to have your plan approved by the local authority. And that's an independent process that they will have to go through. So that is why from our end we have made the system pretty fluid, because it's a very simple application process. There's a checklist of things you would have had to satisfy when you're applying for your plan to be approved, because the NDC or the municipality, they ask for this necessary documentation. So we're not duplicating what is happening there.
All right. And Minister, lastly, before we go, many of times when you guys have these dream realize, you find persons, especially on social media, saying we've applied for a house lot, we've paid off for it, and we still haven't received our titles. What would you say to them? And for persons who would have applied for a house lot and say they haven't got called from the ministry as yet?
But they don't only say that, they also would say, like how we're in Region 6 today, I'll see somebody messaging from Region 2 to say, when are you coming to Esquibo? When we were in Esquibo quite recently. And so before I come to your question, I also want to make this point. It's a deliberate policy by us at the ministry and for the central housing to be out there. And so that is why periodically you will find outreaches being done by central housing. We have our regional offices, and of course I believe persons are not utilizing those offices to its fullest. So for example, Region 6, its office is in New Amsterdam. And so you can go there and get your clarification, have your query be done, follow up and what have you. So you don't have to necessarily wait until we're here. Now to your question. They just trust the system. Of course, there are so many thousands of pending applicants, and every day we are out, you have new persons who are applying, and there's only so much we're responding with. But the bottom line is, and the reality is, we are responding. We as I said, we are about 18,300 plus already, and we have more to come. And so once you trust the system and trust the process and ensure that your application is active, we will ensure that those persons who are waiting for a long period will be addressed. In some cases, what I find, like for example, I've dealt with 2 so far, it's not a case that they were not called because they were all applicants, but they were offered and they just didn't accept for the area that they were offered. And so sometimes, that's why the difficult task is to make that judgment of who really needs it, because you're offering and then they're saying, oh, for some reason it's too far, whatever is the case. We can only offer land that has become available. Everybody can live where they want to live. We have to, the reality is, and that's why we're developing our country, we're developing our region, so we're developing our infrastructure, we're developing our transportation networking so that we will have movement. When we go to other countries and our family go to here, Berbice, everybody has somebody in the US and Canada. They live somewhere and then they travel to a further distance to work, and so it's no different. We want to live next door to our brother or sister. It doesn't work.
We all want to do that, but there is a system you have to follow, right?
And there's availability of land too.
All right. And Minister, I did mention lastly, but I want to touch a point quickly for persons who would have applied for a house lot, and let's say they're into I know there is a system where you have to wait 10 years before you can actually sell your land, right? Let's say persons are into the 8 and they're probably migrating. What's the process for that? How can they do so?
The 10-year bracket is really, it's a mechanism we put to prevent flipping per se of lands that have been allocated, and it's unfair. Quite frankly, it's absolutely unfair for people who are waiting for years and really need to build their own home, and then for anybody who gets and try to do that. So that is why we have that period. We have beyond that, then you can have that addressed privately, because even to dispose of assets or the land has a process, and we also have a penalty involved. So these are all mechanisms we put in place if there's an approval, if it's approved, because they might have scenarios or situations that warrants that, but it's not encouraged.
Okay. Anything else you care to share with our viewers before we go, Minister?
Oh, certainly. And so to the people of Berbice, I just want them to understand that we know they're pending applicants, when we started off, we have been dealing with a lot of Region 4. You see now we're out to the other regions, and that is our program, our housing policy. It does not just transcend to one region. It's for the people of Guyana, and like in how this PVPC government works, it's development for all of our people. There's a little for everyone, and so you'll even see in the coming weeks we're going to other regions. There are other initiatives that we're embarking on, and so we just have to work within those parameters and accept and that you have a government that wants to develop its people and wants to work with them.
My name is Yerwati Biochan. I'm from number 52 village, and I applied 2020 for a house lot, and I'm very happy that that the minister shared the house lot and we can get a house lot, we can benefit from it. Some people, it's difficult to buy a land, but I'm grateful for the President, Irfan Ali, what he did, and for the Minister of the Housing. And I want to thank them very much, and may God bless them with good health and strength. Well, patience is virtue, as they say. You have to be patient in life. Good things comes to those who wait. And patient, well, that I have been taught that good thing comes to those who wait. So I've been waiting, and it takes time on their behalf too, because they have things to do too. I understand that. So I'm very grateful, and I'm very much happy.
Well, today I feel like I'm very glad today, and the government done a very good job to me today. I feel very proud having a land.
My name is Divesh Prasad. I'm from Line Path. I have applied for a land probably about 2 years now. I'm really excited that I have it now.
My name is Alex Alwyn Boyce, and feel nice to know that I could own my own house lot. Applied since 2019. It's good.
My name is Flosel Gray. I'm from number 51 village, and I had been applied for a low-income house lot since in 2018, and today it's a great venture that I'm here and I'm receiving my house lot. My advice to you who's waiting for a house lot, you wait patiently, do your application, and your venture will come. You will have your home. It's a great venture that everyone will be soon a homeowner, and they will be happy with their family.
My name is Imran Mohammed from lot 70, 78 village, Corentyne, Berbice. I have put in for my lot about a year and something, and I've get through. And I thank the President and his cabinet for everything, and let them continue to do good work. I hope them and wish them all the best in the future. I want to say who haven't get through us yet, let them hold and be patient. They will get through. The government will fulfill its promise to all its people in this country. So be patient.